Oh, you're here. Good. I was hoping for company. You see, I've got stories, dark ones, chilling ones, the kind that keep you up at night. Mythical creatures, curses, horrors you can't escape. Shall we begin? Don't worry, I won't bite. Much.
In the dazzling, chaotic city of Shanghai, where dreams crash into reality like waves against concrete, there were two best friends who once thought they'd walk through life side by side, Linda Meng and Nina Gao. Their story started back in middle school. They were inseparable, riding bikes through narrow alleys, giggling over crushes, sharing every detail of their teenage lives. Destiny kept them together through high school, and they even got accepted into the same well-known university in Shanghai. They were like sisters. But after graduation, life took them in very different directions. Linda landed a solid job at a multinational company. Smart, calm, and capable, she quickly rose in the ranks. At a fancy corporate cocktail party, she met Jason Zhou, a wealthy, charming businessman. They hit it off instantly, and within a few months they were married. From then on, Linda was living the dream, what people call a rich wife's life, but with her own career too. Weekends were brunch at French bakeries, afternoon Pilates or yoga, and art exhibitions or upscale dinners in the evenings. Sometimes she'd even bring Nina along. She was elegant, composed, and from the outside her life looked like a perfect blend of class and ambition. Nina, on the other hand, had a bumpier path. She joined a mid-sized company after graduation. Not glamorous, but it paid the bills. The best thing in her life was her longtime boyfriend from college, Daniel Ko. Daniel wasn't rich, but he was loyal, patient, and loving. After dating for years, they finally got married and moved in with Daniel's mom into the family's old apartment. Their life was modest but warm. But the more Linda's life upgraded, the more Nina's heart wavered. She couldn't help feeling jealous and resentful. How come she got to marry rich and I'm still squeezing into subways, clipping coupons to buy groceries? Nina often asked herself. Her vanity, fed by the glittering city around her, started to grow unchecked. She began tagging along with Linda to high-end women's events, beauty salons, skincare talks, luxury tea parties. She craved that lifestyle, and she didn't hesitate to fake it, wearing knockoff designer bags and maxing out credit cards just to blend in. Then came the night that changed everything. At a semi-private medical beauty event, Nina met Dr. Charles Chow. He introduced himself as a Korean-trained plastic surgeon, polished, charming, always dressed to the nines. He drove a brand-new Mercedes GLE coupe and flashed a Rolex on his wrist. He looked like he had stepped out of a lifestyle magazine. Nina was instantly smitten. And the crazy part, Charles seemed just as interested in her. He started picking her up after work with champagne in hand, surprising her with luxury skincare products she'd casually mentioned the day before and whisking her away to five-star hotels with skyline views. And so the affair began. Soon, Nina's life looked like it had jumped a few tax brackets overnight. She was now rocking real designer clothes, carrying a bag Charles gave her, and pulling up to meet Linda in a BMW. She walked in like a queen who had finally made it. When Linda asked, surprised, how she suddenly had all these expensive things, Nina didn't hide a thing. In fact, she bragged. You see? Daniel's nice, sure. But can he even compare to Charles? Linda didn't laugh. She had seen enough to know this was dangerous territory. She tried to warn her. Nina, do you even know what you're doing? Daniel may not be rich, but he's solid. He's always been there for you. You're going to ruin everything for a fantasy. But Nina snapped back. Are you just jealous that I finally have what you've had all along? That one sentence drove a wedge between them deeper than any silence ever could. Their years of friendship cracked. And Nina, she dove headfirst into the illusion Charles built for her. Oh, and one more thing. Charles was married too, which meant this affair, it was never meant to end well. From the moment Nina and Charles started their heated romance, she was all in, as if she had slipped on Cinderella's glass slipper and stepped into a brand new life. Her social media was suddenly full of glamorous snapshots, designer outfits, luxury skincare routines, breakfasts with skyline views at five-star hotels. It was like she had shed her old identity, that of a stressed-out office worker in discount heels, and become someone just as polished and upscale as Linda. Charles knew exactly what to say. His sweet-talking was practically an art form. Once I leave my wife, we'll move to Singapore and open our own beauty clinic, he whispered as he poured her wine. This is just a transitional phase. Don't be dramatic. Stay calm, okay? He even got Nina daydreaming about wedding venues, engagement rings, and a future that sparkled with wealth and prestige. Nina completely swept away. Back at home, her husband Daniel wasn't blind. He noticed the changes, the constant overtime excuses, the unexplained business trips, the expensive new clothes. Nina, of course, had a whole script ready. She said it was all part of her job, that the clothes were borrowed from Linda for work image. She avoided his questions, even dodged calls from her mother-in-law. Her new routine: get dolled up, go shopping, take selfies, post quotes like, "A woman should live for herself." It was all part of the act, but lies don't stay hidden forever. The truth came out one Friday night. Nina was in the shower when a message popped up on her phone. "Babe, see you at the Shangri-La tonight. Don't be late." Daniel stared at the screen. After a long pause, he finally opened her chat history. There it was. Dozens of flirtatious texts, scandalous photos. One of Nina in lingerie posing on a hotel bed. It hit him like a knife to the chest. When Nina walked out, she found Daniel sitting silently on the couch. He didn't scream. He didn't throw anything. He just asked quietly, "Why, Nina? Why would you do this?" And Nina, instead of panicking, decided to rip off the Band-Aid. "Daniel," she said coldly, "stop lying to yourself. We haven't been right for a long time. You're a good guy, sure, but I don't want to live like this forever." Daniel's voice cracked. "This? You mean me working, cooking, saving up just to buy you birthday gifts? Nina, we've been together since college. I never thought you'd trade that for money." He begged her not to throw their life away. He said they could fix things, go to therapy, take time apart if needed. But Nina had already made up her mind. She packed her bags in silence and walked out the door without looking back. Standing next to Charles's car with her suitcase, tears streaming down her face, she sobbed, "I don't have a home anymore, Charles. You're all I have left." Charles, unfazed, wrapped an arm around her. "Silly girl, you should have known by now. You belong in a better life." He set her up in a fancy apartment complex in Pudong, Shanghai. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather sofas, scented candles, imported cat food. Everything was picture perfect. Her daily life now: wake up, do her makeup, try on outfits, go to the gym, post glamorous selfies, wait for Charles to show up. During this time, Linda tried to intervene more than once. She told Nina to snap out of it, to leave Charles and go home, to stop destroying herself and her marriage. But Nina wouldn't listen. She got more and more defensive every time, even told Linda to stop meddling. Eventually, Linda stopped calling altogether. They didn't speak for months. And while Nina thought she was finally living the rich wife dream, the real nightmare had only just begun. One morning, Nina called Linda in total panic. Her voice was cracked and desperate. "Linda, please come. I think I'm going to die." Despite everything, Linda didn't hesitate. She grabbed her keys and rushed straight to Nina's apartment. What she found left her speechless. Nina looked like a ghost of her former self. Hair a mess, eyes bloodshot, trembling all over. Between sobs, she finally spilled everything. Charles had been using her. He'd taken her ID and phone to sign her up for shady loans across multiple lending platforms. For those that required facial recognition, he would get her drunk and scan her face while she was out of it. At first, it didn't seem suspicious because the money really did land in her account. Charles would then take her to the bank, have her withdraw the cash, and hand it over to him in full. He always left her a few thousand as pocket money and said it was all part of his business plan. "Once my company goes public," he would say with a kiss, "you'll be my CEO's wife." But then the phone call started. Debt collectors, one after another. Nina panicked and asked him what was going on. Charles shrugged it off. "Don't worry, it's all being handled." A few days later, he disappeared. He told her his wife had found out about them and he needed to handle the fallout. He promised he'd be back soon. He wasn't. He didn't pick up her calls. His WeChat was deactivated. It was like he vanished off the face of the earth. Desperate, Nina went to the address he had once mentioned as his place. She got stopped by security at the entrance. Then a well-dressed woman came out and asked, "Who are you?" Nina clenched her jaw. "I'm his fiancée." The woman gave her a long, cold look, then scoffed, "Go find a police station, sweetheart," and turned away. Nina did go to the police, but she had no evidence. No receipts, no voice recordings, no contracts. Everything. The loans, the bank transfers was in her name. She went back to her apartment and collapsed on the floor, sobbing. For the first time, she saw the truth. The so-called dream life Charles had promised her was nothing but a glittering trap made of lies and vanity. When Linda rushed over to see Nina that day, she didn't expect to find her friend in such a mess. Face swollen from crying, voice shaking as she spilled everything. Linda was shocked and furious all at once. "Are you serious right now? After everything I told you? You actually fell for that nonsense about business loans and facial recognition? Girl, are you out of your mind?" Nina clung to her like a lifeline, sobbing uncontrollably. "I believed him. He said he was going to marry me. I thought he loved me." Linda's heart was knotted up. She wanted to yell, but what was the point now? She immediately called a lawyer she trusted, but after hearing the situation, the lawyer just sighed and said, "Sorry, but all the evidence is against her. Every loan, every signature, every transfer, it's all under her name. There's no legal way to prove she was scammed. This guy, he's a pro." Linda felt her heart sink. Nina had really gotten herself into deep, deep trouble. Left with no choice, Linda picked up the phone and called Daniel. A short time later, Daniel showed up with his mom. They didn't make a scene, didn't shout or curse. They just nodded at Linda and went inside. The moment Nina saw Daniel, she broke down completely. She fell to her knees, crying harder than ever. "Daniel, I'm sorry. You don't have to yell at me. I deserve everything. I know I don't deserve forgiveness." Daniel's eyes were red, but he walked over and helped her up gently. "If you're willing to come home, we'll talk about what to do next." Even Daniel's mom nodded in quiet agreement. She didn't say much, but even Linda was surprised by how calm and forgiving they were. Deep down, she thought, Nina, you really don't know how lucky you are." That night, Nina went back home. She lay in the bed she used to complain was too old and tacky and stared at the ceiling until dawn. At some point, she turned and hugged Daniel tightly, sobbing and promising again and again that she would change, that she would work hard and make things right. In the days that followed, Linda helped coordinate with the lawyer to sort out the debts. After reviewing all the loans, credit cards, and messy financial stuff, the total damage came out to over 2 million yuan. That BMW Charles gave her, also under financing. Luckily, it was in Charles's name, so the leasing company just came and towed it away. But the worst part? Nina's employer eventually caught wind of her scandal. With her reputation in ruins, she had no choice but to resign. She couldn't face her co-workers anymore. In the end, she had to swallow her pride and ask Linda for help. Through her contacts, Linda managed to get Nina a job at a high-end beauty salon, not as a stylist, but starting from the bottom. If she trained hard enough, she could eventually become a full-on beauty technician, working on commission. Ironically, she now had to make money by providing the very services she used to splurge on. Daniel, meanwhile, worked his day job and drove for ride-sharing apps at night, sometimes for 5 or 6 hours straight, then came home and collapsed into bed. Even Daniel's mom didn't sit still. She went to train as a certified nanny and started working as a live-in caregiver. She took it seriously, always saying, "Even if I'm old, I can still help this family stay afloat." That's how the three of them got through it. They worked like this, side by side, for over 3 years. Then, one Friday night, Nina checked her account and saw the final debt balance, 0. She stared at the screen for a second, then burst into tears. They did it. Every last cent. Paid off. That evening, Daniel scribbled a note and stuck it on the fridge. All debts cleared. Nina looked at those 4 words and sank to the floor, crying like a child. She remembered the day she walked out with her designer bag, heels clicking, acting like a queen. And now there she was, in her plain work uniform, hair tied back, hands dry from cleaning products. And yet, for the first time in years, she felt at peace. She realized the so-called rich life she used to chase, it was just a fantasy. The real treasure was a family that never gave up on her, even when she gave up on herself. It wasn't a BMW or a penthouse that saved her. It was Daniel picking her up off the ground, his mom helping wash dishes late at night, and Linda showing up when the world turned its back. And just like that, life slowly returned to normal. Nina still worked at the salon, but now she was good at it. She had clients who asked for her by name. She didn't post fake designer bags on social media anymore. Now she posted real moments. A home-cooked dinner, her mother-in-law's new mooncake recipe, Daniel waiting in the car to pick her up from work. She even started meeting Linda again for coffee. One afternoon, she handed Linda a little lunchbox. "Daniel made this pork belly dish you like. I told him you're the reason I even have a life to cook for." Linda smiled, shaking her head. "Nah, you're the one who chose to come back. That was all you." They looked at each other and laughed. All the drama, betrayal, the pain, it didn't disappear, but it no longer defined them. Nina no longer fantasized about marrying into money or showing off in luxury groups online. She knew what truly mattered now.